That's my dad's old camera, UG 5 Select. It's decades old, still works. The coolest thing about it is it's got these things called bellows, which allow you to fold the lens in and make it compact. I can just push this down and then flip the lid up, and there it's a compact camera. Cool, isn't it? Amazing technology. Anyway, so I'm going to try to show you how to take high-speed photographs using an iPhone or pretty much any of the modern phone cameras. I've tried it on the iPhone 11 and I know that works. On the other phones, I haven't tried it, so you're going to have to try it yourself. You're going to have to download an app like the ProCam 7, which allows you individual control of all the parameters. But before I start, just some background. I'm going to try to take a picture of this falling drops from the faucet. And to start, I'll give you a little background. If you know this already, apologies, but I thought it's a good place to start. So the basic idea of forming an image or taking a picture is a lens is used to focus the scene onto a sensor, which used to be chemical film in the old days. These days, it's a piece of silicon with an array of pixels, which are basically little cups that can hold electrons. And the image is applied to the sensor by opening a shutter, and you can see the shutter here. If I load this camera, you can see the shutter opening and closing. In this case, I set it to bulb mode, so so long as I'm pressing the button, it'll stay open, but you can set the shutter speed 1/25th of a second, all the way, in this case, up to 1/200th of a second. See that the shutter opened briefly. Now, if you notice, you only saw a tiny hole there. Now I'm going to show you again. Now you can see the shutter opening fully. What I changed there was the other parameter called the aperture. That's basically a diaphragm with a hole whose diameter can be changed, and you can see that diaphragm here, and you can see me changing it. So if I press this, and I can slide this over, and you can see the diaphragm closing down all the way to almost nothing. So the image, the brightness of the image on the sensor depends upon the shutter speed, which allows light in for a certain amount of time, the aperture, which allows more or less light in depending on the diameter. And there's a third parameter called the ISO, which is basically the sensitivity of the film or the sensitivity of the sensor. Now, the reason there are these three parameters is each one has pros and cons. Changing the shutter speed and making it faster allows you to freeze fast motion, like we're trying to do. Getting a slower shutter speed allows you to do artistic effects like you can smear the image of someone who's running by, or you can make the image of a waterfall appear very smooth and beautiful. Changing the aperture can change the objects on your scene that are in focus. A large aperture will keep only a shallow amount of the distance in focus. For example, if you want to take a portrait, you use a large aperture because only the subject will be in focus, the background will be all blurred out, looks beautiful. If you want the whole scene to be in focus, you use a small aperture. But turns out that phone cameras don't have an aperture control. They only have a shutter speed, and they have the ISO, which is the sensor sensitivity. The thing about ISO is if you increase the sensitivity of a sensor, you will automatically get more noise. That is a downside and something that can't be helped because it's just a magnification. If you magnify the image or you make it brighter by multiplying it with a number, you will automatically multiply the noise that is inherent in these sensors. So the noise appears like grain. And you'll see that as we increase the ISO, the image will get grainier. Okay, so that's some background. The other parameter that I haven't mentioned is the focus. And in the old days, you used to control focus by turning this ring. These days, all cameras have autofocus. You can also focus it manually. Now, my subject here is this dripping tap. And I put a little black t-shirt in the background so that the droplets will have something contrasty and they stand out. But you can experiment with different backgrounds and different amounts of light. I also have a floodlight here to light the scene, because when we reduce the shutter speed to the point where we are freezing these droplets, the total amount of light falling on the sensor reduces, so you need to increase the ambient light. Okay. The app you're seeing here is called ProCam 7, but you can probably find other apps that work equally well. All you need is an app that allows you to control the individual parameters like shutter speed and ISO and the focus. As you can see, there's a bunch of um, settings you see on the line below the image. AE, and then there's a number here which I'm tapping now, which is basically the shutter speed. If I tap that and I slide this slider to the left, the shutter speed keeps increasing, and at the end it becomes 1/12,000th of a second. The image becomes dark, the camera becomes dark because not enough light is falling on it. The sync is still fine because I have a floodlight on it. So we'll set the shutter speed to the maximum possible, and then we will get close to the droplets so they're nice and magnified. And then to make sure that it's in focus, we tap on the AF setting and then move the slider. You can see a little magnified bubble comes up. But I'm going to move the slider all the way to the left so that I have the closest focus, and then I'm going to move the camera forward and backwards to see what is the distance for focus. So at this point it's too close to be in focus. I pull it back a little bit, it is in focus. I pull it back more, it's out of focus. So find the right distance, the closest distance that you can focus the camera at, and align it so that you can see the drops against the black t-shirt. You also probably want to set the auto white balance, because that changes the tone of the image. So if I slide it to the left, it looks bluish. If I slide it to the right, it looks yellowish. I kind of like about here. I'm going to leave it there. And now I'm going to tap on the ISO 320 number, and I'm going to bump it up until the image looks reasonable. So 320 is a little dark for me. I am going to go up to maybe 1000 ISO. That looks reasonable. But if you notice, there is a lot of noise on the image at the top. That's basically what I told you about before. It is thermal noise in the sensors. Okay, so we got the settings right. We have the focus. Let me see. That seems to be still in focus, and you get nice big magnified droplets. The other thing you want to do is shooting a single shot may be, you may not get, especially if you're dropping a drop into milk, you may not be able to synchronize by just pressing the shutter at the exact right time. It would be easier to use what is called burst mode. Basically, you tap on this arrow and then you pick the burst mode here. What that does is when you press the shutter, it will take a whole series of shots, and hopefully some of the shots will capture the drop at the exact time that you want it. So now I'm going to take the shot. The longer I press it, the more frames will be shot. So I'm going to press it for a couple of seconds and then let go, and then hold the camera steady so that it takes those shots, because it takes some time for each shot to be downloaded to the camera. So it doesn't take it in a few seconds. It takes a bit longer than that. So I'm going to hold it. I see a number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, and let go. It's taking 16 frames. I can move it a little bit here. It's fine. I can get closer and further and experiment. Now I'm going to get closer, take another few frames. And we're done. That should work.